Military Broadcast Radio, the station that's giving veterans a voice.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Turnbuckles and Stogies. Yo, what is up? What is up? Yo, happy Sunday. Another Sunday with your favorite hostess with the mostest.
Like that, and I'm doing a wrestling punch. I looked at him, I said, hey.
We are Turnbuckles and Stogies Pod, your hostess with the mostest, the big dog, the vanilla gorilla, and ladies and gentlemen, today, yo, y'all ready for this? Because I don't think they're ready for this, Joe.
I don't know. It might not be.
Yo, what is up? What is up? Yo, it's Sunday Fun Day. It's your favorite podcast, Turnbuckles and Stogies. We are recording inside today because it's too cold outside. So we are just chilling, as you can see. So that's what we do. Shout out to his new shirt.
Yes, my new shirt. I don't know what it says. I didn't actually look at it. Comfortably smug, and on the back it says Cigar Club.
I think that's
OG's
club.
That's my man, the OG cigar tender. Shout out to him for giving me this yesterday. I appreciate it. I told him I'd wear it today. That's why I'm wearing it.
Today's guest is Hector from Espinosa. He will be on. Right now, I am smoking the Shakaka.
That's what I'm going to wind up smoking in a few minutes.
So what's going on with everybody? How's everybody doing? What's everybody up to?
So that's what I'm going to be smoking. That's what we're both smoking. I saved this specifically for today because why not? Because I felt like it. So, couple of quick things. Actually, this is something we're going to try to start doing next year, which is a mail call kind of deal.
We could do that.
So we got yesterday.
We both got the same thing.
So this is next week's guest. Just give you
we showed y'all this week's guest.
Just to give you a preview, is Protocol. So we got the Cyber Crimes Division or Cyber Crimes Unit and Official Misconduct, which we've smoked this quite a few times. Never smoked this one.
Laura said that's a good one.
And then we got our Blackbird smoking panel. So they gave us a little gift, which that is actually really
not
dark.
Really a little gift.
No,
good gift.
But that's really dark.
Mm-hmm.
So we got the Crow, the new Crow box pressed. You guys can see. I mean, it's a lot darker than the other ones, in my opinion.
Darker. It's a lot warmer in here too than sitting outside.
And then we got the new test blends from Blackbird in a Robusto size. You get 2 of those. So thank you to Blackbird.
Thank you to Protocol.
Thank you to Protocol.
Espinosa.
Juan will be on next week.
Espinosa sent us a nice little
yes, they did.
Care package. We appreciate you.
I've smoked 2. This will be my 3rd. I'm warm. I'm not even hot. I'm not even cold. I'm warm.
That's because that's on them.
I'm warm. So that's something we're going to try to do for next year is kind of keep our mail calls up and kind of show you guys what's going on. So, that's the update. And then going into January, I think we might take the first week off. Upload an episode.
We have so many episodes to upload.
And then January 12th, we will be in Pennsylvania at IQ IQ Cigar Lounge for Redbone Cigars.
Right.
That's the ones that he actually. So I didn't even ask him for the lounge. He actually wanted, when he said he wanted to come on, he actually offered up his lounge to us.
Nice.
He offered it up to us.
That's nice.
He said, you know, I have my own lounge. If you guys want to do it here, you can.
It's mighty white of them.
You know, so stay tuned for Redbone. If you haven't had them, they're fantastic cigars. I'm actually going to go place an order when I get paid, probably for a box or a 3-pack, because they only have 3 blends: a Sumatra, a Habano, and a Maduro. That's it.
Nice.
Not bad pricing. 3-pack is $28, $9 a stick. Even if you order 6, and it comes out to like $60, it's 50-something free shipping.
We're going to talk about one of our past guests, Sticks and Stones. If you order from her now, she has a 4-pack, a 6-pack, and a 10-box. $150 for the 10-box. Free shipping from now until the end of the year.
Yeah.
15% off. Free shipping. Make sure you order.
Absolutely.
So, grab me 2 sodas when you get to it.
But I think Redbone is going to be something you're going to enjoy, because I don't remember if you had any.
I don't think I had.
I think you tried mine, as much as you normally don't do that.
I'm not a big Connecticut smoker, but I'm enjoying this Espinosa.
Well, if you really think about this, though, this is the Murcielago. That's what this is.
This is Chicaca.
See?
You know where they got that from, right?
Well,
you know where they got Chicaca from, right? They took that off of Ace Ventura when he goes Chicaca.
So as you say, it's the Murcielago, Connecticut. What does that say? TAA 2024 exclusive.
They got that off of.
It's okay, because I got another one in there, so I could smoke this.
They got that off of Ace Ventura.
And I can save that one, and I still have another one.
Yes, they got it off of Ace Ventura when he goes Chicaca.
Yeah. Listen, there's.
Espinosa knows what he's doing.
Of course.
Espinosa knows what he's doing.
But I think next week's going to be interesting with Protocol. That's a branding.
I think today's going to be interesting.
Well, today's going to be very interesting.
Because, you know, when I spoke to Hector on the phone, we have some mutual friends in common there, buddy.
Yeah.
You know? And if it wasn't for me, I mean, I guess he wouldn't be on here, because the mutual friends are okay. We asked the mutual friend to come on, but he never answered me.
Yeah, I actually told him he was going to be on today. So I don't know if he's actually going to jump on or not. But we will find out.
Let me send him a message.
I don't know if he's busy today, if he's got plans, whatever he's doing. So let's what else we got to talk about today?
Let's talk about hanging out with my man yesterday.
Oh, yes. So he might be back maybe once in a while as a guest. Not as a guest, as a
co-host.
As a guest co-host. He might make his return, which has always been left open for him. We never told him no.
I never fired him. He fired himself.
But, you know, things happen. People got to part ways, come back. Spoke a lot about some things yesterday, some things people have asked us, some things we will not address on here. Because, again, that's not our...
It's not our forte.
That's not our place.
What we talk about in private is what we talk about in private. Congratulations to the OG. He's having a second grandkid. Congratulations.
Big congratulations. Big congratulations. Second grandkid. Got a lot of good things coming this year.
So it is what it is, baby. Can you grab me 2 sodas? I meant to grab them before. So you got to excuse us. We're in our homemade studio now for the winter. The wife gave us permission to do it here.
Well, just on a trial basis.
On a trial basis. Because it's -2 outside. So I'm not
No, it's only
outside.
15. Not that bad.
I'm not sitting outside. So we got 2 new recliners.
Well, new to us.
New to us. They were my aunt's. They were in the basement. She never used them. So she gave them to me, and I took the motherfuckers. What do I got to do? So let's talk about a little bit about wrestling that we missed.
Well,
but one of my buddies returned to the Hammerstein Ballroom. Shout out to my brother Homicide.
Yes, that's
Shout
big.
out to my man Homicide.
To Ring of Honor, where he started.
187.
He basically started that company.
187, you heard?
He started that company of Homicide. They came back. Rumor has it after that match with Jericho, Matt Cardona got offered an AEW contract.
Well, that's good for Matt. He's the indie god.
You know, it's a very interesting thing to see where this goes. I don't know if he's taking the contract, if it's actually an offer. Who knows? That's what rumor has.
He'll probably take it because he said he wants to be.
No, he said, I think it's about time I go back to a major company.
And they're a major company.
They are, whether people like it or not. They're a top tier company. You know, it's a very, everybody defines top tier differently, but they have a lot of exposure. They're going to Max next year. They also, not only are they going to Max, Dynamite's expanding to 3 hours.
Right.
So instead of 8 to 10, they're going 8 to 11, which is a very interesting thing because that doesn't normally happen quite a bit on a Wednesday. So it'd be nice to have that. Be nice. All right.
So, guys,
Let's take a quick break.
we're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, we got Hector Alfonso Sr. on.
Been home about 6 months now, and I still have my doubts. Well, I'm not sure how I got here or how I'm gonna get out. Well, my mama says I look the same as I did before I left, but if she could see inside of me, it would scare her to death. Well, I can still taste the powder from the barrel of my gun, and I can hear my sergeant screaming, "Run, soldier, run!" And I can feel the backpack on my shoulders, God, it weighed a ton. And I see death in every single thought. Well, they taught me how to put that uniform on. I just can't get it off. Last Saturday they honored us in a small parade downtown, and when they shot off those fireworks, I nearly hit the ground. And while they smiled and cheered for us, all I could do was stare, 'cause part of me is here at home, but part of me's back there. Well, I can still taste the powder from the barrel of my gun, and I can hear my sergeant screaming, "Run, soldier, run!" And I can feel the backpack on my shoulders, God, it weighed a ton. And I see death in every single thought. They taught me how to put that uniform on. I just can't get it on. Yeah, there's no end in sight. 'Cause even though I'm home now, I'm still fighting for my life. Well, I can still taste the powder from the barrel of my gun, and I can hear my sergeant screaming, "Run, soldier, run!" And I can feel the backpack on my shoulders, guiding weight a ton. And I see death in every single thought. Well, they taught me how to put that uniform on. I just can't get it all. Well, the devil's won some battles, and he may win some more, but don't he know the American soldier will always win the war?
What is up? What is up? Yo, happy Sunday, happy fun day. Yo, we are back with your favorite podcast, Turnbuckles and Stogies. Today we got a special guest, my man Hector from Espinosa Cigars, Hector Alfonso, New York. So let's bring him on and let's see what he's got to say.
Hey, gentlemen, how are you?
Okay.
Looks like you might be frozen.
I think
you
you're
guys-
frozen, Hector.
Hey, hello. Can you guys hear me?
Nope, it's our Wi-Fi. Hold on, guys. Hold on. Let me see if this will work any different. Give me 1 second. I'm here.
Well, he's here. Hector's here.
It's gonna go off for like a half a second.
There he is. What's going on, my man?
Gentlemen, how are you? How you doing? You guys good? Can you hear me? Hello, hello, hello. Looks like I'm here by myself. I don't see anybody else. Well, welcome to Turnbuckles and Tobacco. Oh, Cigars, I'm sorry. I'm Hector Alfonso. I don't know where my guys went. I'm sure they'll be back. Usually it's the other way around. Usually I have all the internet problems. But today, the hamster's at full speed, and I lost my guys. So, how am I doing? I'm doing okay. How's everything? Everything is great. I'm doing a little self-interview here. I'm sure all of this will be edited later. Unless we're live, then that would be a problem. So, I feel like that episode of WKRP when they leave the guy on the air, he doesn't know what to say, So it's 11:19 here in kind of nippy South Florida. It's about, see, what's the weather here today? It'll be funny if they can't get back on to where I am, and then we got to start this thing all over again. That'd be pretty funny. It is 69 degrees here in Miami. Trust me when I tell you there will be people wearing boots and a parka or two. Man, my own show. I always wanted to have my own show. I wonder what the audience is like. That music video really got me going. I thought I was getting off that cattle truck in South Carolina, in Fort Jackson, South Carolina, back in March of '84, when after that song was done. It brings back a lot of memories. I'm a veteran, not a war veteran. My son was a war veteran. He did 16 months over in the sandbox. I'm incredibly proud of him. I'm a huge believer that everybody should do a couple of years in the military. It would do them a world of good in some instances. Nothing pisses me off more than hearing, well, not my son. My son's not going to. Anyway, so we're here to talk about tobacco. Man, I'm a little worried about these guys. Where the hell are they? So let's see what's going on in the world of news today. Nope, no message from them. Let's see if I got an email from them. That'd be great if they sent me an email saying they can't get back on. Give me a few. The Wi-Fi just went out. Well, like I said, this is incredible. So I guess we're going to talk about wrestling, and we'll talk about cigars. To be honest with you, my son was my kid when he was younger. He was a huge wrestling fan. Wrestling, when I'm 58, so it's Florida wrestling. It's George Animal Steel. Those are the guys I remember from my childhood. Superstar Billy Graham and the American Dream Dusty Rhodes. But it was tough I'm wasting all this good material before these guys get back on. This is not live, though, right? Is this live? It looks like it's live. 21:37. So we'll be back with the Beatles and Love Me Do. I don't know what to do, man. I guess I could just sit here. Wish I could see what the crowd or what the audience is talking about. Probably a little blurry. My background's a little blurry, but it's so nice outside. You got to open up the gate. Got to get that 69-degree weather in while you can. These guys said it was 4 degrees where they were. Fuck. That's awfully cold. Trying to think how we can fill time. I guess we can do the night before Christmas. I can do the monologue from the Charlie Brown Christmas. That's always my favorite. Let's see. 'Twas the night before Christmas. One moment, please. 'Twas the night before Christmas. Let's see. Here it is. So, "'Twas the Night Before Christmas" by Clement Clark Moore. I'm a little worried about doing this because some will show up on a gag reel. When you expect it, when you're about to retire, somebody will pull the shit out of there, but it doesn't matter. Night before Christmas, went all through the house. Not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas would soon be there. The children were nestled all snug in their beds, while visions of sugar plums danced in their hearts, in their heads. And Mom in her kerchief and I in my cap had just settled down for our long winter's nap. Out on the lawn there arose such a clatter. I sprang from the bed to the woman, into the door, flew like a flash, the world shuddered to dash. I almost lost myself there. What's going on? The moon on the vast lovely fall snow, the luster of midday to objects below. When what to my wondering eyes should appear but a miniature sleigh and a tiny reindeer. With a little old driver so lively and quick, I knew in the moment it must be Saint Nick. More rapid than eagles, his coursers they came, and he whistled and shouted and called them by name. Now Dasher, now Dancer, now Prancer, now Vixen, on Comet, on Cupid, and Blitzen. Hey, welcome, guys. I just had to fill like 6 minutes of dead air.
Yeah,
so let me tell you something.
Listen.
I want my. We don't know what.
I want
we
my
don't know
cut.
what the hell just happened.
I appreciate that. I appreciate you.
Doesn't matter.
6 minutes.
Yes. Thank you.
We can't have dead air, brother. You can't have dead air. When you have dead air, that's fugaz right there. That shows
Yeah, I know.
unprofessional. You can't have dead air. So so when you guys go back and review this, you'll see that I tried to do a little material. I figured that Twas the Night Before Christmas was nice. We could do that.
Well, I appreciate that.
And then I started to interview myself, and then I realized if I did that, then I wouldn't have any material for you guys. So here I am.
So
I
Hector,
dropped this. This is my own fault.
Oh
Tell
no!
us.
I lost you. Okay.
so Hector, tell us.
Yeah.
How long you been in the cigar industry, and how did you hook up with Eric?
All right. So I have been in the cigar industry on February 7th of next year. It'll be 13 years that I joined Eric in the cigar industry. I worked at a retail shop a couple of years prior, and while that is cigar industry, that's kind of periphery cigar industry, especially here in Miami. I know in some other places, working at a shops, that's a huge deal because a lot of guys make careers out of that. But here, a lot of the people who work in shops here are just transitory. They're working here for a while, they're transit, they move on to the next guy. There's a lot of shops with like really pretty women who really, who sell cigars, but don't really sell cigars. You know what I'm saying? So as luck would have it, I worked for my first part of my career. I was a criminal analyst for the Miami-Dade Police Department, and the economy went to shit. And we can curse on here, right?
Yes.
Can we curse on here?
Absolutely.
Okay, just making sure.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So the economy went to shit back in 2007 and 8, and the mayor balanced the budget on the back of his employees. So we found ourselves, those of us who found ourselves in six figures, we're now in the high five figures, which, listen, there's still nothing to sneeze at. But, when you're used to working a certain way, especially in a city like Miami that is so expensive to live in, we found ourselves in a tough spot. So as luck would have it, the cigar store needed somebody to work on the weekends. I mean, I was already fucking there. So why not just go ahead and, keep working while I was there? And I met Eric at the shop. We weren't pals or anything like that, but he knew my background, and as I started to do a little research on him, I realized we had a lot of friends in common, but not cigar friends. So one day he came into the shop and we talked, and we didn't know, but we grew up like a mile and a half from each other. And the only reason we didn't know each other was the school boundary for the area where we lived was 47th Avenue, and I lived just west of 47th, and he lived just east of 47th. So while we had friends who went to the St. Peter schools, we'd never met each other. He went to one high school, and I went to the other high school. So like I said, he just one day out of the blue, he calls me, and I'm leaving the station, and he tells me to meet him at a parking lot. I meet him at this parking lot. He's not there. He tells me to meet him somewhere else. And now I'm starting to get those cold vibes. This is how they whacked what's his name in this is how they whacked Joe Pesci in that monster movie, So I roll up on him, and there's this empty warehouse, and I get out of the car, and he tells me that he's no longer, his partnership with EO has been dissolved, and he's going on his own way. And he wanted me to come work for him. And I told him, what do you want me to do? And he said, well, in typical Eric fashion, we'll figure it out. And a few months later, we made our first trip to Nicaragua. He really saw that I really dug the blending aspect of it, the field and the farm and the where. I really dug that, which is good for him because it's one less thing he has to do, and really takes away from the best thing he does, which is a rep. He was the best rep in the state of Florida, hands down, undisputed for the longest time. And now he got a chance to sell his own product, strictly his own product. And we needed him because we were a brand new company with no cigars, an 800 square foot warehouse, and just, a guy with a good reputation who was trying to reestablish himself like a phoenix rising from the ashes for the third time, So we started working together, and look, man, here we are. We just had our
now
sixth.
you have Jack Toronto.
I didn't hear you say that again. Now I have who? Man, more technical difficulties. Do I go back towards the night before Christmas? I can tell you what I'm smoking. I mean, eventually we'll get around to. This is the very, very rare. Oh, hold on, you got to put it up here. Oh, you can't see it. Everything is blurred except my face. The 10th anniversary Espinosa, which was launched about 5 years ago. I think it's pre-COVID. I want to say it was pre-COVID. And what a great cigar! It celebrates Eric's 20th year in the industry, not as a company, but as an individual. Man, this is so weird for me to not have internet issues. This is outstanding.
So hold
This
on.
is
Let's see what else. I guess I can just. Oh, and here they're back.
this is we
Listen,
just
The
got
Big Dog and the Vanilla Gorilla.
I just got Verizon.
we just got brand new Wi-Fi and somehow it's already not working.
I will be calling Verizon.
And we
in the
just got it
morning.
put in.
Verizon, you can go fuck yourself, eat a bag of dicks. Okay. So Hector, let me ask
We
you this.
apologize for all the
Hector, I apologize.
dead
for
air on
everything.
our end because this normally doesn't happen.
Hey, it's not dead air. I'm filling it nicely. When you guys go back to the tape, you'll see I've been trying to fill it nicely.
Thank
Let me
you.
ask you this, Hector. Let me ask you this. So we met Jack Tarano about 2.5 years ago at Buttheads.
I'm sorry to hear that.
He said, "I'm sorry to hear that."
So Jack, we were sitting at a table, me and my son. He goes, "Can I come and sit with you guys?" I'm like,
And-
"Sure."
And it's funny because I think that kind of like, a lot of people were running up to him and oh, Jack and this and that and this and that, and here we were with the people we were with, just sitting at the table. We had a conversation with Jack standing up, walked away, sat down, went and smoked our cigars. Didn't bother anybody. And he comes over, he goes, "Can I sit?" Absolutely.
So
It's
Well,
because
Jack-
we weren't those guys that were all over him while he was trying to do everything. We just talked to him for a brief minute, said hello, and went about our business.
Don't feel bad. Jack is a man of the people. Jack loves that. He loves that. He loves to talk. He loves to tell stories. And he loves when people walk up to him. I mean, he was probably it might have been a big crowd. Maybe he was a little overwhelmed at the minute.
Probably.
But Jack was built for those kind of moments, man. Not me. I was not built for those moments. I actually, it's the bane of my existence when I'm surrounded by too many people. I can't focus on one guy. So I'm, see, I'm looking, I've got, I'm just all over the damn place, So yeah, so you hung out with Jack and you met Jack 2.5 years ago. I got you.
Yeah.
So Jack was the coolest dude in the world. That's when he sold the company to whoever he sold it to. I said to him, I said, "So what are you going to do now?" He goes, "I have no idea." Next thing I know, he's working for Espinosa. I'm like, "Jack," I sent him a message. I said, "Jack." I said, "What's the problem here? You told me you didn't know what you were doing." He goes, "Yeah, I knew what I was doing, but I didn't want to tell you."
Yeah, listen, it's a tough world. This is a tough industry, and Jack being a Tarano being a legacy brand. I smoked a lot of Taranos when I started smoking, 30 years ago, and he got a chance to represent the brand as a brand ambassador for General. But corporate companies do things in their own way. I mean, not to take a shot at General. They're a much bigger company than us. They're very successful, and they have a plan. And they took the line They took the Tarano line strictly online. So there was really no need for Jack, which was great for us because we really wanted to hire Jack 3 years prior to that. But to be honest with you, having Jack go work for General for those 3 years was the best thing. It's like he got a master class in how to rep, and how to be a brand ambassador because we're, like I said, we're much smaller, and now he comes in with that experience. It's like getting a master's course.
So now
It was a boon for us. It was a great hire too. Still to this day.
So let me ask you this. So Eric and his son Eric. So you guys have this big brand, and I say big brand because no matter where we go, there's always Espinosa Cigars. So how did Eric become so big in the cigar industry that people want him in their shops?
Well, listen, that's a question that I got to answer in a couple of parts. The first part is Eric was a broker. Eric's done everything in the industry. He's been a rep. He was a store owner. He was a store shopper clerk, store owner, rep, national sales manager, independent rep, and now obviously a brand owner and and a factory owner. So what the thing is that he repped for very big companies. In the beginning, he repped. I want to say he repped for La Flor Dominicana. He also repped for for Camacho before Christian before they became CLE. And when I met Eric, he was repping possibly the two biggest companies in Florida, Rocky Patel and Drew Estate. So he was incredibly well known. You know, selling two very popular brands. Rocky, Rocky fresh off Decade, and hitting Cigar Aficionado early, and Drew Estate on the launch. They had just launched T52 and number 9, so they were at the pinnacle. They were at the top of their game so early on. Not that they're not on the top of their game now, but they're completely different companies. So Eric had that popularity in the state of Florida. And then Eric's just look, man. I mean, I got to tell you, I've worked with a lot of people in police work, a lot of people in this industry. He's very charismatic. Eric's, it's a showman, and people just are attracted to him. I mean, he goes into, I do events. My events are so much different than the ones Jack and him do. Jack and him do those storytelling big events. Eric is, the center of attention, the star, or the life of the party, and people are drawn to that. And they're absolutely drawn to that. And he's gotten successful in this second part of his career, now that he's by himself, with just his son and myself. This company on social media. He absolutely built this company. In doing podcasts, it's, everybody's, I know that all the podcasts are different and, they all have their own.
Right.
Own audiences and sometimes they all don't get along, but we came on the scene just our dojo and dojo established their community, and we became a huge part of that.
So how did you guys come up with it?
There are guys in this industry. Look, we're coming fresh off of our sixth. Sorry to cut you off. Let me just define. We are a company just coming off our sixth cigar in the Cigar of the Year list, the Cigar Aficionado puts out. We've been around 12 years. We have 6 cigars in the top 25 in those 12 years. And there are guys out there who've been in this industry for the good luck to make a list like that. And here we are, based on the fact that, Eric's popularity, what the company does for the people who smoke our cigars. We host this thing called La Zona Palooza.
Right.
We have good swag. And, something that's almost always overlooked, we make pretty damn good cigars. I mean,
like
our cigars are like that one right there. That cigar, that cigar is gone. We sold all of that at TAA. I think we may have had like 100 boxes left over, and I think those are gone.
So now
we are at the point where we're no longer a small company by any stretch of the imagination, but we are a very decent, medium-sized company with an incredible online following and a very committed army of loyal Espinosa smokers. You can't ask for anything else. You can't ask for anything else in this industry but that. That's a perfect formula it's a great formula for success.
So how did you guys come up with La Zona Palooza? How did you guys come up with that?
Eric always wants to give back. He always wants to give back. And there were a couple of, when you think about it, nobody does an event like that. There are some similar events.
Right.
There are some factories that do open houses. There's a couple of companies who'll do like a one-day event. But I got to tell you, I think we were the first to actually plan a weekend around just the guys who smoke our cigars. Not only do they just smoke our cigars, everybody thinks, well, I smoke Espinosa, but it's not about just smoking Espinosa. It's about being out there as almost an unofficial ambassador for the brand.
Right.
You know, these are guys who walk into shops and say, hey, what do you mean you don't have Espinosa? Well, you know, I guess I'll have to shop at another shop. It's those kind of guys.
Absolutely. I mean,
You do that
you know,
all the time.
I've done that
That's-
myself.
and
I've
that's-
done it. Do you have it? No. Okay. Well, then I'll buy these from you, and then I'll go up the road to
And
this
I'll go
shop
somewhere
that has 17 different boxes, and I'll get my Espinosas over there.
And listen, it's hard to be in every shop. I'm not going to lie to you. Everybody's goal, yes, everybody wants to be in every shop. But let's look at it. There are some things, there are restrictions. There might be a shop that only has space for 30 facings. Yeah, we'd love to be, we'd love to be a part of that. But we can't. We're not going to lose any sleep over not being on that shelf. Eventually, the word of mouth will get to him, and he'll have some interest, and his interest will be piqued one day, and he'll want to try us. And listen, we're a great company in the sense that we don't make you buy 30 facings of this or 20 facings of that. You want one box of something? That's one box I didn't have in your shop last week, and now I have one box.
And you'd be surprised how many
I like
companies don't do that.
Of course. I like to call it the Chinese drywall effect. You bring that one piece of bad drywall into your house, and the next thing you know, we are all over that humidor. So it's
that's not a bad thing. That's
it's
never
not a bad thing. I like to call it the Chinese drywall. That's what we want to be. We just get one facing in there, and we're gonna spread in there.
That's another customer that shop might gain by having just one box. Like I've gone into shops where there might be nothing I want, but there's a box of Drew Estate or a box of Espinosa or 2 boxes of Espinosa. Guess what? Now I just bought 3 or 4 cigars, even though you only have 3 boxes of what I want.
Absolutely. Listen, there's you like I said, you want to be in every shop. Even if you can't make it into every shop, you want to at least have contact with every shop owner. Look, there are shop owners that, believe it or not, there are some shop owners that don't want, no, I'm fine. I'm not here to. We actually had a guy who told Eric recently, I'm not here to grow anybody's business. You're not growing my business. And I think Eric's like, you're not going to grow my brand. My brand's grown already.
Right.
Our brand is 21 years old and of legal drinking age. You're not going to grow us anymore.
Right.
But there are just some guys who they don't have the space. It's not for them. I mean, listen, there are some shops that are just classic, Altadis General, Fuente, Padron, Davidoff. Not that there's anything wrong with those brands. Those are all great brands. But he might have only 20. He has 20 spots. He has the legacy brands, and maybe he has an older clientele, and the older clientele are not the guys who wake up in the morning and go to Half Wheel or go to Dojo or Cigar Coop and look to see what the latest releases are to try it. The old guy smokes his Monte Cristo or his Ashton White or his 898, and we're glad he smokes because it's great for the industry. But he doesn't have time. He doesn't have time to smoke the new Blackworks or the new Tatuaje or the new Espinosa. He doesn't have time.
Which are all great brands that you just named off, by the way. They're all brands I smoke myself. They're all brands I smoke myself.
Hector, tell us how you came up with the name Chicago.
You would be surprised if you. Well, I didn't come up with the name. The name was the name actually. I got it. I think Jack's gonna take the credit on that because he came up with it because last year we did a TAA cigar and we called it Murciélago de Oro, the Golden Bat.
Yes.
So we wanted to stay with the whole bat theme. We wanted to stay with the whole bat theme, and we couldn't. White Bat. I think White Bat came up in conversation, and then of course, if you're a movie guy, the Great White Bat, like Chicago. And the next thing you know, Chicago was. Chicago was it was from Ace Ventura, the Ace Ventura movie.
Yes, Ace Ventura.
So
I don't remember.
Yeah, so we Jim Carrey, the other guy, the other guy.
Yeah,
it's
Ace
Jim
Ventura.
Carrey. Right. So Eric's like, no, I don't like that. And then like a week later, what was that name? That name, I like that now. So we went into that, and that's how it became. And I don't know what we're going to do next year. We have until October to come up with something. But the Chicago, I don't know how you follow up Chicago, but we'll come up with something. Listen, we are Shiitake, yeah, the mushroom. That's we are
Yeah.
right now in my. These are the salad days for Espinosa Cigars. We had another great year. I know a lot of companies were down, and a lot of companies were, but we've had another solid year. We had good growth. Uh, our relationship with Guy Fieri is strong. Guy is now doing more events than ever, and that only helps. Not only does it help the brand, I think it helps the industry because
Absolutely, it
you
does.
have a guy who is going out of his way to mainstream cigar smoking. Every time he wears that cigar shirt on diners, drive-ins, and dives, every time he goes,
So,
he's seen on the field at the Raider
yes.
games or at the NFL or at the NBA All-Star game, and he's got a cigar in his mouth. That is
Yes.
great for
So
that's
I
great
have
for
to
us.
I have to ask because it's something I've always wondered. You see a lot of celebrities that collaborate with somebody, get their own cigar, that have no say, no nothing. Does he actually smoke the cigar, and did he have kind of a hand in
Guy
making the
Fieri,
cigar?
Guy Fieri smokes more cigars than I do.
Okay.
Let's start off with that.
No, I've always,
Guy Fieri
you
smokes,
see all the time in the industry. That's why I figured I'd ask that question.
but we're about all about the same age. I'm 58. Eric's 57. I think Guy's going to be 57 now in January. So
And you're
Guy's
going to
been
be
smoking.
55,
I'll
right?
be 55. I'll be 55 on December 31st. By the way. Just
Oh,
saying.
look at that! What a great time to be. What a great birthday time. So
Absolutely.
Eric, he started smoking right around the same time. Probably a little bit later than me. I started in the army, and then he started. I said when he was out of college, he was smoking Excaliburs or Excalibur Hoyle Monterey's, if I'm not mistaken. So when I first met Guy Fieri, listen, uh, Eric and Guy were just getting to know each other, and there I am as they're telling stories and trying to establish their relationship, and I'm just putting cigars in his mouth. He's talking and blah blah blah, and I know this guy and I cook for that
Get this.
guy,
Get
and
this.
Eric's telling him, well, I played poker here at the World Series of Poker, and they're just going back and forth, and I really don't have anything to interject into that conversation, but my interest is, do you like that? Well, yeah,
I was
I've
going to
only
say,
smoked an inch of it. Do you like it?
yeah,
Yeah, okay, he
your
likes
interest
that.
is here. You could smoke this cigar and let me know what you think.
Did you
Matter
not
of
like
fact,
this?
here's another one.
And then he must have gone through 6 or 7 cigars that I just gave. I let him smoke a little bit of it, then I take it back, and he looked at me and I'm like, just do your thing there. Let me do mine, and we got a baseline. We got a baseline of what he liked. I made some samples, and he smoked through them. He smokes through everything we make. He smokes through everything
Okay.
we make, and not because we have to give it to him. He wants them. He wants
Right.
to be a part of it. He's not just, to go back to your original question. Well, I mean, to add on to your original question, what makes this celebrity collaboration the most successful ever is the fact that he is a cigar smoker and
And
he is a
that's
cigar nerd. He loves
and
cigars.
that's what guys like you who are in the industry, guys like us who, are on the media side and smoke cigars quite about obviously all the time. But that's something good to hear because that means, you know what, when somebody says, "Oh, he has nothing to do with it," you can say, "Well, actually, he does
He absolutely
because
does.
he smokes everything. He blended it with them. They blend, they worked on it and came out with
Right.
this.
Listen,
And
I look to see what the portfolio needs. We came out with two
right,
cigars from the beginning. A Habano and a Maduro, and then we came out with a special cigar for the PCA, and then we did his birthday cigar. He likes to have an anniversary cigar. We learned when his first birthday cigar came out, it was called the Knuckle Sandwich 55,
I
and
was just gonna say, is that
Yes.
that's the
the
55
55,
and the
yeah,
56.
the 55, 56, they're all the same cigar. It's just they're different sizes. So
Okay,
that's where you get the little bit of a.
I
That's where
was
you go. Oh,
wondering about those.
this tastes a little different than that, but they're all the same cigar, all the same blend. It's just in different sizes, and I'm trying to incorporate 57, 58 in there,
Oh,
somewhere.
that's
So he was at a Raiders game, and he was on the sideline, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm smoking this cigar right here," and I'm like, "This motherfucker here is still promoting his sticks."
Next level, dog. He's next level, bro. He's next level.
oh that's you know what though that's cool because you don't get a lot of celebrities like like that actually sit down and blend the cigar and kind of give you like, I like this, I like this, I like this.
Look, he gives us his input on what he likes. But I'm going to be honest with you. We're at a point now that we have, there's nothing we don't send him just one, and he's like, I'm down with this.
Right.
We send him a couple, and he goes, man, I really like them both. Well, all right, one will be this, and then one will be this, and then one will be this brand new one that we're doing for smoke in a couple of weeks, a couple of months. That's he.
So
he
I will say,
he wants to be,
the
go ahead.
knuckle sandwich. When somebody had told me about it, I couldn't find it. I went and I found it, and I don't get a lot of cigars that, off of the initial light up of the cigar, that hooks me and impresses me right away.
Which one did you smoke, the Maduro or the Habano?
The knuckle sandwich Maduro.
That's the one I like. I like
Yeah.
that one better than the other one.
So a bunch of my buddies I smoked with, they're like, oh, you got to try this, get this. And I never was like, it wasn't, because I smoked all the other, I smoke a lot of the Espinosa stuff. So I was like, it's not that I don't want to smoke it, I just haven't found it. So when I found it, I was able to buy it. And we actually went on live on Instagram, and they were like, light it up because I want to see if you have the same reaction. And off that initial light up, I was like, oh, I'm like, this might be something special here.
Yes.
Because you don't get a lot of cigars that off that initial, here you go, that punches you. When I say it kind of kicks you right off the bat, but it's smooth.
Listen, it's a cigar. It's not a celebrity cigar.
No.
It's a cigar made with a celebrity. It just
Exactly.
had that cigar not said knuckle sandwich on it, it would have said Espinosa. It would have been just as good. It may not have gotten the quick publicity that it did, but it's still we can't come to the table with some monkey shit cigars. The cigars have to be good because we're setting precedent here as a company that's doing a celebrity cigar with a guy who's involved, with a guy who smokes cigars, who's not just it's not a kick that I just want to have a fancy cigar. This guy's into the cigar industry. He's into it. He goes to events. I mean, Jesus Christ, he's been to every PCA. He went to 2 cigars, Big Smokes. He went to 2 Great Smokes. He's done events at, I think, probably now close to 15 shops. And you should see the reaction when this guy goes to a shop. People at first gave me a lot of guys gave me grief at the beginning. They go, "Wow, you're doing a cigar with Guy Fieri. What does he know about cigars? And how's he going to help sales?" I said, "Let me tell you something. Does your wife smoke cigars?" And the majority of them said, "No, my wife doesn't smoke cigars." I go, "But I bet you she watches the Food Channel, right? The Food Network, right?"
Yes.
He goes, "Yeah. Guess who's going to tell you to buy a box of Guy Fieri cigars and get them signed because she loves Guy Fieri?" And a lot of that has happened. Your wife, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, whatever.
She can keep the box signed.
You can keep the
signed box, and I'll take the cigars. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's been. I would bet everything I have on it to tell you that I think it's the most successful cigar collaboration with a celebrity ever. And not only is it most successful, it's the one that's worked most organically because this guy and Eric are like 2 peas in an annoying little pod. I mean, they're just, for me, they're just the same kind of guys. They're like cut from the same cloth. And I'm not that kind of guy. That's why I say it drives me crazy, but it's been great. And let me tell you, he's famous and he's got an incredible G rating and, he's very well known but he's just a regular guy. He really is. He's just a regular guy with his kind of problems that are not the same as my problems or your problems or Big Dog's problems or Vanilla. We have our own problems. I'll give you an example. So 8 months ago, we're having a Zoom meeting and Eric's like, well, he always asks, what can I do to help? What else can I do? And I think Eric says, well, we really got to start doing some more events. Can you guys hear me? Okay. So
yes,
he says, we got to start doing more events. And Eric's and Guy says, my plane right now is, my plane's being serviced. It's going to be out of commission for 3 weeks or 4 weeks, but we're going to get on that as soon as it's back. And then the meeting continued and I mentioned it again. And he says, well, Hector, I had said earlier, I said, Dude, you're right. I'm so sorry. The problem is, in my world, I don't know anybody with a plane, so it didn't stick. It didn't filter. It kind of just went through, and I didn't capture the fact that his plane is going to be serviced because I don't know anybody with a plane. Because for me, I fly, but I can't imagine he can fly commercial airlines. It can't be easy for him, you know.
So with Guy Fieri, right? Yeah, I'm yours.
I did.
So with Guy Fieri, so he has done so much with Espinosa, bro. It makes me want to order like boxes.
And that's the idea.
That's the
Well,
idea. So
listen,
let me ask you this. So go ahead.
No, you were going to say. Go ahead and ask me. What was your question?
So let me ask you this. So with Guy Fieri, with him putting his cigars out, because we've done a few shops and some of them have them, some of them don't.
Well, if they see, that's the thing is like a lot of shops may not have all of your lines. They may not have the Murcielago. They may not have this. Every shop at least has the knuckle sandwiches.
Yes.
That's one thing I've noticed.
Well, listen, I mean, knuckle sandwich. Understand? I need you guys to understand this. Knuckle sandwich. We pre-ordered knuckle sandwich. We ordered 10,000 boxes of knuckle sandwich. That's a huge nut for a company our size. That's 200,000 cigars. All right. I'm sorry.
Right.
10,000 boxes times 20. Yeah, it's 200,000 cigars. That's a lot of cigars for a company our size. And we were worried about that. This was like end of December when we ordered them. No, I'm sorry. It was end of November, right before Thanksgiving. We ordered them because we knew we were going to launch in January or we were going to go public in January. And I had 100 cigars of Habano and 100 Robusto that were shipped to me. The very first ones for samples. Unless you were in Dade County, Broward County, or Palm Beach County, which is West Palm Beach, Fort Lauderdale, and Miami. Unless you were here January 2nd and 3rd of 2021, you didn't smoke these cigars. You never tried these cigars because him and Eric went to shops together and people were just blown away. The amount of orders that started to come in once the cigar unseen, sight unseen, packaging wasn't finished yet. The only thing we had was the band and what's coming out. The amount of orders that we received, I had never seen anything like this in my short time in the industry. Jack, who worked for Tarano and worked for General, had never seen that before. Eric's like, I think we may have shortchanged ourselves. We probably should have ordered twice as many. And right away, we knew we were in a good place because within a few months, we already had a back order issue. I mean, we already missed, and to go back to what you're saying, how involved is Guy? Guy likes big cigars. So we did Corona Gorda, Toro, and Robusto. Within a year, we already had the 660 because that's what he likes to smoke. So he's involved. It's not just a company with his name slapped on it. It's a guy who's involved, and I'm telling you, he loves to send his cigars to his friends. Send Al Pacino a box. Send Travolta a box. Send what's the guy from Dana White? Dana White. Yeah, he moves in different circles, and he wants to make sure that those friends in his circles try his cigar. He's very proud of it.
So let's talk a little bit about this blend. Is this blend a specific blend for the TAA? Is it a new blend? It's a new blend.
So here's what happened. Eric, we had talked about the TA for years, but the TAA is, the TAA is an older organization. It's a representation of older shops, more well-established shops with a lot of name recognition, and successful. And we had always kind of not, because we're in Florida, there's only 3 or 4 TA stores. I think there's 3 or 4 in Florida, and we had done well there, but we weren't really doing super well there. And then in about 4 years, when Jack came on, that was part of the concerted effort. One of the things was to target more TA stores, to get into the TA stores. So it came a point where me and Jack and Eric and Junior, and Richie, we were all in the meeting. And I'm like, I think we should try to join the TAA, but you have to be sponsored. And, you don't want to do anything where you might not get accepted, because you don't want to be embarrassed. We think that we're on this path. Right. So as luck would have it, the TAA accepted our membership late in the year. So it was very late, and we didn't have time to develop a new cigar. So we sacrificed a brand that we were going to release just for us, and that was the Murciélago de Oro. We sacrificed it as an Espinosa brand for everybody to make it a TA store, because we wanted to make an impact when we hit the TA, and we did. Right. We were the only company at TAA last year that while you were at TAA and you placed your orders, we were shipping them to your shop. So when you got back from TAA, you had the cigar there. So that's what made it in your hand. That made it super impactful. This year they moved the TAA. The TAA was moved to the end of the year, and orders that were placed at the TAA were satisfied after 2 weeks. So we're still well ahead.
It's still a pretty quick turnaround time.
Yeah, there are some companies that don't satisfy the orders, and that's how they work. Not to criticize, but every company's run differently. But how we wanted to do it, especially we came in with Plasencia. So we're coming in with another really well-recognized brand, or a respectable brand, a brand with respectable ownership, and and they've been around. They've been making cigars for years. So we wanted to make sure that we shined as well. And Plasencia was a great addition to the TAA. I think we were a great addition to the TAA, and something that we wanted to do that some TAA brands do. And like I said, this is just everybody handles the business their own way. We just didn't want to slap a band on a cigar that says TAA and not make it any different than a cigar that you can get at another shop. Because if you're a TAA shop, why do I want to bring in this cigar? Oh, so your regular cigars is 6 by 50, and you're going to make a 6.5 by 50 for me. It doesn't. There's nothing. Make a new brand, a new line, a new blend, something that makes it worth the while. And 95% of the TA stores responded. There's always going to be one or two that whatever, for some reason or other they have no interest in it. They may not have the space for it. We still haven't charmed them enough to get in. And then there's that one shop or two shops that that for some reason just won't drink the Kool-Aid. Don't think that we're a flash in the pan, not realizing that we ain't going nowhere. We've been doing this now. We've been doing this 12 years, and we're gonna keep doing this shit. And
we gotta take a commercial break. We'll be right back.
I'm sorry.
Quick commercial break, Hector. We'll be back.
Do your thing.
All right, where is it at?
Yo, so I keep telling y'all, the boss knows every motherfucking body. Keep telling y'all that. So guess who showed up at the hotel here in Connecticut? And y'all not gonna believe this shit. Joe, they ready for this shit, Joe?
I don't know. Are they?
Y'all not gonna believe this shit, but I'm gonna show y'all who showed up. This is the CEO and founder of NESS.
And one half of the
my man.
Sports Show.
Go ahead, man.
What's going on, fellows out there? Glad to be here with my favorite wrestling podcast. I love these guys. They're unique. They're funny. And I'll tell you, they know a lot about wrestling. You got to go to the Roku channel. All you got to do, channel search on Roku TV, channel search National Streaming Sports, and you'll get their show.
So, Mac, let me ask you this. So, they can't find it. It's like the Pat McAfee show. Once ESPN take that shit off for the hour, it's done.
That's right. That's right.
So if you're not gonna watch from 11 to 12:30, I don't know what the fuck to tell you. It's like it's like being a bar smoker. If you ain't got your fucking ticket, you ain't getting in.
I know what to tell you.
Go ahead.
Go to the Turnbuckles and Stogies podcast YouTube page, and you can watch all of our back episodes from episode 5 and on.
But
the originals are on the MB Radio YouTube page.
Let me tell you something else. Go where people know. 12,430 followers.
Whoa!
On the Roku channel.
Whoa!
1,600 views a day.
I feel like Elizabeth.
I'm telling you.
Elizabeth, fat Sanford, Elizabeth. Elizabeth, I'm coming, Elizabeth.
I mean, you don't get any better than that.
Sports all day, every day to include my favorite wrestling podcast.
Well, and there you have it, guys. Our producer from Connecticut, Mr. Mac Attack himself. And God bless us. Yo, we'll see y'all. We took a Sunday off. So we'll see y'all next week. Have a good day, guys. All right. We are back.
A lot of energy on that. A lot of energy on that.
Producer. That's our producer from the Northeast Streaming Sports Network, which we're live on right now on Roku TV.
Oh shit, we're live on it now.
We're live on Roku, and we're live on 2 different Rokus
And Amazon.
and in Amazon on the Fire Stick.
Oh, whew, that night before Christmas, I might be getting calls for that.
That's all right.
That's okay.
But that's what we're live with them now. They're actually watching us now. I don't know how many people is watching, but hello to everybody.
So tell us about Chicago. How did you come up with Chicago?
Grey Wolf says 2 TAA runs so far, more to come.
Yes.
2 home runs.
So like I had told you guys earlier, Jack came up with the name. So we needed a new TAA for this year. The name was bandied about the meeting table, and then we came back to it, and boom, there it is. Chicago. The hardest thing in this industry is not making a cigar. Making a cigar is easy. Making a good cigar is a little harder, but coming up with a name and a marketing campaign is hard. It's incredibly hard. And I'll tell you, I didn't go to TAA because it's a short trip. I don't like taking short trips. And if I'm going to be hot, I can stay in Miami. I don't need to go be hot and I don't need to go to an island in the Caribbean and the Antilles to be hot. I can be hot here. So they went there and they came back saying that was the cigar in everybody's mouth. Not just because the cigar was good, but because Chicago. You had grown men running around going Chicago. It's it was great. It was great. The most important. Listen, you can have the greatest marketing campaign and the greatest catchphrase, but at the end of the day, the cigar has to be good. Because you'll buy one, you'll buy one and go, "Yeah, the Chicago was good." You bought one. Oh, the Chicago was good. If you bought another, man, this Chicago was monkey shit. That's it. You bought one. You're never going to buy another one. So we have to make sure the cigar is always good.
And that's a lot of the times, like you said, the campaigns are good. The marketing is good. But if the cigar is shitty, then, you spent all that money for this cigar to just sit on a shelf.
So Hector, how does one person, and I say this, one person, get to go to La Lona Pazula?
So what? I was
first you got to say it. You got to say it right. First, you got to say it right.
For somebody to get to La Zona.
All right, this is what it takes to get to La Zona Palooza. Be a fan, and I know be a fan, but be active in the community. Join the La Zona page. Page. Post La Zona. Smoke La Zona, post La Zona, be visible, engage with the other people, the other members of the group. You have guys who have been there since day one. Engage, post so they can engage with you, and we will notice because that's what we do. We spend all year going, hey, this guy's really coming on. And every year we have new people who come to La Zona Palooza. It's not capped. It's not capped at all. Every year somebody comes. Every year several new people come on. And starting last year, we started to make Hall of Fame members, guys who have been with us since the beginning. Eric is very loyal, man. I mean, he does things that I don't think any brand owner would do, out of his own pocket to make these jackets for these people, to make them not only feel included, because I'm trying to get away from that inclusive shit, not to be included, but to be a part of us. I mean, you're asking people to smoke. There's hundreds of cigar brands, and you're asking them, listen, we just want to be part of your rotation. And we're part of your rotation, you're either going to love us or hate us. I mean, not hate us, but you're either going to love us or you're going to move on. And guys have stayed, and I'm telling you, and the La Zona thing is great. I'm telling you, I can promise you that if you guys join the La Zona page and you guys are on there doing your, sharing and doing your thing, you got to be active, man. You got to be active.
So now let me ask you this, because I saw the packs. Are those blends that were in the boxes, the Lazona blends, are those the Lazona Palooza blends? Are those new blends or
Those are
blends
all
specific
blends. Those are all
made for
blends
that
that
event?
were just made for that event. We were just selected for that event. Listen, there's what's the best cigar in the world? If you ask a store owner what the best cigar in the world is, his answer is the one that sells the most.
Yep.
Not the Padron or the Fuente or the Cuban. That sells the
Right.
best in the shop. So we work on blends, and we come across blends that sometimes they just aren't quite right, or they're good, but they're not wow. So you said, well, we need to make some cigars that are limited, that guys are going to smoke and enjoy and keep, because they'll never see these again, and that's what we do. And
Okay.
listen, the nerd. You know how you can tell a cigar nerd. Excuse me. You know how you can tell a cigar nerd, and this is my litmus test for a cigar nerd. When they come to Lazona Palooza, or I run across them in one of the in the 7 or 8 events I do every year when I travel, and you give them a cigar, they're like, "Oh, thank you very much." But when you give them a cigar with a white test band on it,
Mm-hmm.
you should see they what is this? Oh, this is
Do that
this
a
is
lot.
that was gonna be, but it did. And then they smoke it and they go, "Man, this was so good. How come you didn't come out with this 5 years ago?" Well, 5 years ago it tasted like shit. It wasn't good 5 years ago. It's better
Right.
today. But I can't, we don't have that luxury. We can't make cigars and wait 5 years to sell them. Every once
Right.
in a while, I'll drop a brand. Like, you're gonna smoke. You've smoked Protocol Blue before?
Yes.
All right. So I have probably 10 or 12 of the original Protocol test blends. They were
Wow.
made in 5 by
Wow.
52. They were called Emperor, Emperor 1, Emperor 2. And every once in a while, somebody will come into my office who's a real nerd, and I'll tell them, "Hey, have you ever smoked Protocol or whatever, any other brand that I've made?" "Yeah, here, try this." "Oh my God, yeah, that's what you're smoking was what was originally how we came up with the original blend."
Wow. That's pretty cool. That's
Listen,
cool that you still
I
have
don't
it though.
smoke. I'm smoking a cigar that's 5 years old now. I'm smoking a 20th anniversary. I never, ever do you see me smoke stuff with bands, because I remember how we started, and that we didn't have cigars to sell. That I never could smoke anything that we sell. Now, I
Right.
mean, times are better now, but you'll see me mostly smoking unbanded cigars that don't have bands or have test bands, who were going to be this or were going to be that, or
Right.
was the first iteration of this, or in some cases, a cigar that we made for somebody else. And then these are the ones I have left over, and I smoke. That's what I smoke.
That's cool. No, that's interesting that you still have, like you said, some of the stuff that either wasn't released or took too long to age, stuff like that. Now, let me ask you, because I know you said sometimes you have to wait 5 years for stuff to, just as is there cigars out that you have had that have sat that long that you guys have finally released, or is it stuff that you keep to
No,
yourself?
no, no, no. Listen, we make a cigar within a year of developing it and getting it ready. It's gone. It's out the door. We
Okay.
don't. We're not Cubans that we can make these five. We can make these cigars, sell them to you, and then tell you got to wait 3 years to smoke it. I mean, what kind of shit is that? Only Cuban cigars get away with that.
And
We don't.
it's funny you say that because I've had a couple of Cubans over the years, and I don't find them to be that good, so to say.
Listen, I like Cuban tobacco. I like the taste of Cuban tobacco.
Right.
But Cuban cigars, I don't smoke Cuban cigars.
No, they
99% of the Cuban cigars that I'm given, and I'm given a bunch during the year, I hand them out to friends, because I personally, it bothers me to smoke Cuban cigars because of my parents being from Cuba and the struggles that they went through.
right.
I mean, I don't feel the same way about Cuban rum. I have to draw the line somewhere. But buying a box of Cuban cigars, especially if you buy a legitimate box, I know a lot of guys buy fakes, but you
Yeah.
buy a legitimate box of Cuban cigars, it's like gambling. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, here we go. Oh, it didn't draw. Shit, let's try again.
Yeah.
Here, another one. Boom, didn't burn. Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
This one. Oh, shit, this is still raw. I mean,
Yeah.
but then you get one, and then you get one out of the box that it
That's
smokes
perfect.
like if God himself had made it for you. And
Yeah.
then you go, wow. But then after that, you got to smoke 2 more that taste like dog shit. So I mean,
Yeah. I mean,
but they have gotten away with that. The consumer has allowed them to do that. So you get what you pay for. I
right.
wouldn't pay $300 for a Bahiki.
No.
I wouldn't. Bro,
$500.
Diaz Canal would have to come to my house and cut my grass for me to buy one of those cigars.
it's crazy. Like
Wait, he
hold on,
said, cut my
the
grass.
prices, are so high. And then, like you said, it's a gamble on what you're getting.
A
Where
lot of people buy brand names. There are 100 better Nicaraguan cigars than Cuban cigars. 100 of them,
Mhm.
and 50 better Dominican cigars than Cuban cigars. But
that's
you
what I
know,
find is I find them to be too light.
I
I
listen.
find them
Like
to
I
be
said,
way
I have had several cigars that are made with Cuban tobacco, and you could tell the involvement of in the blend, how special the cigar is and how good the
right.
tobacco is. But I save your money, brother. Save your money. Save your money. Get yourself a good boutique cigar. Buy yourself a
Get
Roma
myself
Craft,
a box
or
of get myself a
buy
box
a
of Espinosa.
buy
So
buy
how do
buy a
how
Roma
do we
Craft, buy an AJ Fernandez, buy whatever you want. Yeah.
Right.
so how do we get to La Zona Palooza
He told
next year?
us you got to post in the group and be active.
Be active, man. Be active. Smoke cigars. You see somebody smoking a cigar, man, that's a great cigar. I had it. Hey, where'd you get that? You know,
Right.
Well, listen, we coming to film
Dudes
down
want
in the
there.
chat.
There we
So
go.
we
Well,
coming to film down there. So
If we do come next year and we do get the invite, that's definitely something we're going to try to do is try to
shout
film
out to Derek Dukes.
the podcast
Derek
down
Dukes, my man. My man, Derek Dukes.
That's my man. I love Derek. We
Yeah,
did
Derek. I love Derek. I like
he
Derek. I
was,
like Katie as well. They're good people.
he was our Christmas and New Year's episode
last year.
last year because him and my dad
We used to
wrestled together for like 30 years.
Oh yeah,
So
I thought there was going to be some wrestling talk, so I had to go back. Unfortunately, here's the thing with wrestling. My son was a bigger wrestling fan than I was. I grew up, like I said, I'm 58, so I grew up with Florida wrestling, Superstar Billy Graham,
Dusty Rhodes,
the Incredible, yeah. And
So send
the
me your
problem is,
address and your pictures.
but the thing is that my dad wasn't a wrestling guy. My dad was a boxing guy, so I watched a lot more boxing with him.
right.
But when I joined the army, when I come back from Korea, my last year in the service, I am stationed in Fort Sill, Oklahoma, and it was 1986. And there's a lot of wrestling on there, especially from Texas. And I
Yes.
kind of fell in love with this family called the Von Erichs.
The Von Erich
Yes.
family. Kerry,
That's where I
Kevin,
started my
David.
career.
But then I hear their story, and their story is so sad of how it's so
terrible.
awful.
It's horrible.
So then my son is born in '86, and then in the early '90s, when he's past being a toddler, he's in 5 years old, he is huge into wrestling. And my brother who passed away, my brother passed away 3 years ago now, and he was special needs. My brother had Down syndrome, but I don't know, and I know this is going to sound awful, but I don't know what it is about children with Down syndrome, how much they love wrestling.
Yes. No,
My brother loved wrestling. My brother couldn't tell you what time it was, but he knew when wrestling came on, what channel it was on, and he would watch it and not miss anything. And my son, right before my brother passed away, maybe 2 years before my brother passed away, he took him to WrestleMania in Orlando.
Yep.
And my brother, I think the last fight of the night was The Undertaker. So my brother was, my brother came out, he was doing the walk like The Undertaker, and my son's a policeman here in Dade County, but in Orange County, he's just a regular civilian with a kid with Down syndrome. And my brother's bumping into people, and he was having the time of his life. I mean, I was so happy that Hector got a chance to do that with him. But my son was a big wrestling guy, and I remember spending lots of money on the toys and the rings, and the Brutus the Barber beefcake, and Jimmy, Brutus the Barber beefcake, and Ric Flair. He used to,
Flair, Brutus Beefcake, Jimmy Snuka, Hulk Hogan.
Which was the Sergeant Slaughter. You had the guy, Bam Bam Bigelow. Then you had, wait a minute, you had the Honky Tonk. The Honky Tonk Man?
Yeah,
Honky
Tonk Man, Mr.
Jake
Perfect.
the Snake. They had the British Bulldogs. My son used to love all that.
Yep.
Loved it
Yeah.
all. I mean, he's a grown man now. He's 38 years old, but he grew up on that. And then,
That's
there was then he started talking to me like I'm supposed to understand this big issue that's going on with WCW now, and now they split off, and I'm looking at him like, that I don't know what the hell you're talking about, right? But he was, no, now they split off, and now this guy's over here, and now Hulk Hogan's a bad guy. He was telling me all this shit like I'm supposed to know this,
That was the day. That was the day the business changed when Hogan turned heel. That was the day the business flipped.
Yes.
When he turned heel, that was.
And then he started watching another one with Sting, and I go, but that's not WWE. No, that's WCW. He's like, I'm supposed to. Bro, I'm very too old for this, But he kept me up to speed on that shit,
Well, I spent, as a kid, I spent most of my childhood with him on the road. When he would go to shows, I'd sit in the crowd. I mean, the amount of people I met, like there's people I've met and had conversations with that a lot of fans nowadays would, kill to have conversations with. Like I've had conversations with Lou Albano, Johnny Rods, Jimmy Snuka, Alpha. I've met Jesus. I mean, the list just over the years, from going to shows and meeting these people the list I have of people I've had conversations with are conversations that people now will never have.
Well, listen, you're kind of, think about it. The cigar world is a micro world.
Yes.
There are many more fans of professional wrestling than there are cigar smokers.
And it's
so
funny
I can just imagine how nerdy. I'm sorry.
A lot of wrestling fans are cigar smokers.
Well, sure, but you're looking at last year. I think this year we're up like 3%, but last year we had 470 million cigars that were imported in the United States. That's. Our population is 360 million, 370 million, something like that. But cigar smokers, we're a micro world, but the wrestling guys, among wrestling nerds, I'm sure you start mentioning names like that. They're like, oh, Captain Lou Albano, it's got to be crazy.
It really is. And, it's something that it's memories to me that, I can never recreate and never, it's something I'll always have as a kid growing up that I've met those guys. I've had conversations with those guys. It's stuff that, like you said, people now, when you mention those names, a lot of people still don't know who a lot of those guys are because a lot of them, a lot of people, they only follow, let's just say one brand or one company. And there's 5 or 6 different companies out there and people have no idea who you're talking about.
Yes.
How does that not relate to cigars? The same thing.
It does quite a bit.
There are still people to this day that when I tell them Espinosa Cigars, I've never heard of it.
Well,
live under rock. But listen, I get it.
I send people, I tell people all the time when they're looking for brands, I'm like, and I always point them to you guys or this one or that one. I said, because they're brands I've smoked. They're brands that, as a consumer, I'd stand behind with great cigars because, I've smoked so many that it's like, if I've smoked that many and I'm telling you to go smoke it, there's a reason I'm telling you this.
Right.
I'm not telling you this just to tell you this to try something new. I'm telling you this because I know what I'm talking about.
Listen, that's one of the great ways to get sent to get a offer to come to Lollapalooza. We know there's hundreds of great cigars out there,
right?
And just to be a part of the rotation is all we ask for, because I know that once we're in the rotation, we're gonna make our mark. Everybody talks about going into a shop and the shop owner loves me. Yeah, well, but it's not the shop owner you have to worry about. Sometimes the shop owner is just too busy owning the shop that he doesn't have time for the involvement with the customers. What you want to get is that clerk, that nerd clerk. Like a nerd clerk, that's the guy you want to put cigars in his hand, and the alpha smoker, because every shop has 1 or 2 alpha smokers. And when I mean 1 or 2 alpha smokers, there's 2 questions asked in a cigar store. 2. There's a bunch of other ones, but there's always 2 questions that are asked in a cigar store. What's up? How you doing? When you walk in, How are you? Hey, how you doing? Julie, how you doing? I'm doing good. Second question is, what's new? That's the second question asked in a cigar store. So when you got the cigar nerd, the cigar nerds or the alpha guy into your cigar, he's going to go, hey, you got to try this.
Yep.
That's all you want. You just want an introduction. You got to hope the cigar takes it from there.
Absolutely. And that's, like we were in a shop yesterday meeting. We met up with a friend of ours, and there was somebody looking for a cigar for her husband, or I think it was her husband, right?
Yeah.
And he smokes a lot of he likes the flavored stuff, like the cherry bourbon, stuff like that.
Mhm.
So, there was something they were grabbing it. And like they're like, well, what, they're like, is this a good cigar? And I'm like, well, what does he like? And I kind of figured out, I'm like, okay, well, if he likes this, then, I guided them to the Sweet Jane from Drew Estate. I said, if he likes that cherry bourbon or that flavoring, I said, that's the best way to go, because it's a sangria kind of infusion. I said, and that's where you'll lie. And then they had something else. And I'm like, well, you're bringing him here. So bring him here, let him smoke, like you said, and then show him his different options and let him pick.
You got to have, listen, the most important thing to have at a shop is obviously a good owner, because, a good owner is on top of inventory and on top of his bills and on top of trends. But you got to have an educated clerk, a cigar sommelier.
Yes.
Because the guy will walk in and say, I like this cigar. You might not have that cigar, but you got to be able to say, well, I've had that cigar, and I think I can put you in this one. I remember guys would come in and say, I want the Padron in the Torpedo. I said, listen, they don't have the Torpedo, but why don't you save yourself the 75 cents and get the Toro? It's the same cigar. It's just, with a different end on it. And, you got to be, and that's important. And across the country, especially the places I travel, the people who work behind the counter are just so educated, and they're so nerdy, and I love it.
No, and that's a good thing. Like there's two girls that work at that shop.
Mm-hmm.
One is the manager who does all the ordering, and then the other girl was behind the counter, and she came in and did the same thing. And she was like, "Oh," I said, "Yeah, I pointed them to this." She goes, "What about the Java Red?" I'm like, "I never smoked it." I said, so I couldn't point them in that direction. But she came in and she was like, "Well, if he likes this, he'll like this too, and this and this." And she was like, they're like, "Oh, thank you guys so much for helping." Like they were, it's good, like you said, when you can have not only the educated clerks, but then you have somebody in the humidor just happen to be buying cigars who knows what they're talking about.
I've seen that. I mean, especially at the shop that I go to, it's the guys who are regulars there are almost like, they're almost like work there. They're almost clerks as well.
Yes.
Hey, I'm looking for this. If the owner's not in, or the owner might not recognize the brand he's looking for, one of us will say, "Oh yeah, try this or try that."
Right.
So listen, it's the thing is, you always want somebody to leave the shop, not necessarily with a cigar, but with the right cigar, because you hate for them. If a bad experience with a cigar, that's it. I mean, say for instance, the guy comes into a shop and he goes, I really like to smoke light, and the shop clerk's a big Espinosa guy. Let's say he loves Espinosa, and he gives him a knuckle sandwich Habano. That's not the right cigar to give that guy.
No.
Because now he's not going to like the cigar, and now you've turned him off on the brand.
Right.
Because you didn't put the right cigar in the guy's hands. Had you put the right cigar in the guy's hands, you'd say, listen, here, smoke the crema or smoke the regular Habano. And then, the guy could say, well, this is, I'd like something a little stronger. Well, let me tell you, I can turn you on to the red. And if you want something stronger in the red, I can turn you on to the percent. But it's important that you get the right cigar in the right guy's hands. There's nothing worse than recommending the wrong cigar, because you could kill your brand, your chances with that guy forever.
Yes. No, you're 100% right. And that's a big thing, and it's just this was a very informative episode, even with all of the
technical difficulties.
That I'm gonna have to call and tomorrow morning and yell at them that I just bought this Wi-Fi from you. And
but the last 20 minutes have been good. You've been good the last 20 minutes. No glitches.
I had to fix I connected to a different Wi-Fi that made it not glitch.
Oh, I got you.
But it's been working the last hour or so. It's been very good since I signed back on with the right Wi-Fi. So I want to thank you for coming on, Hector.
My pleasure, man. Listen, anytime I can come on, I love to come on and talk about the brand. And, I'm kind of like the de facto historian of the company. I've been there since day one. And I've got what I like to call...
You're 100% right. The Espinosa brand is for everyone.
Yeah, I love to talk about the brand. Listen, institutional memory is huge in this industry, especially in this industry where so many people move around. So, I love talking about the brand.
no, this is something we definitely want to do again for sure.
Well, you can always count on me.
We'll have you, and if we can nail him down,
Getting Eric is hard. Getting Eric is hard, man.
Or maybe Eric at some point in the future.
Jack's fun. Jack's a fun. Jack's actually, me and Jack do a lot of interviews together, and what happens is when we do an interview together, we kind of take over the guy's show. So it's you got to be careful when you have me and Jack on. Next thing you know, you're a guest. You know, we're asking you 1,000 questions, and you know.
Listen, you know what? We like sometimes when that happens, because you know what? It's when you have guests like you and like Jack and Eric who are so knowledgeable. You know, it makes it easier for us, because we can ask you one question, and that question that you'll answer may turn into 4 or 5 other questions we had, and it just kind of goes from there. So that's definitely something we can definitely work on. Maybe have you and Jack back after the new year. We'll figure something out, iron out some dates. So, well, that's been another fun episode, Hector. Thank you again so much. I appreciate it.
No, and man, my pleasure. I'm glad we had a chance to talk, and I know you were trying to get Derek on, right? But Derek, Derek is Derek. I'll get him back on. I said to him, bro, I said, we're gonna have Hector on. I'm like, if you want to come on, let me know. I'll send you the link. I said we could have you on too. He was. Let me tell you, I went to the beginning of the year. I went up to do an event in New Hampshire.
Yes.
And he came up and attended and supported the event. And listen, Derek's an Espinosa Lizona guy. Derek knows what it takes to come to Lizona Palooza. You guys have the right guy in hand.
When we had him on, we were talking. He's like, "Send me your address." I said, "Okay." I sent him my address, and we get a package in the mail, and it's like 2 versions of the Comfortably Numb, something else, and I'm like, Jesus, bro. I'm like, you sent me all the good stuff. I'm like, you sent me all the good cigars.
Oh, I'm like, that's another thing. Guys in Lizona there are guys in Lizona who are constantly bombing each other with cigars. One of the games we play at Lizona Palooza is we start calling out the names of cigars we made years and years ago, and people still have them. That's crazy. That's crazy, but that's
he sent the Comfortably Numb, the white one, volume 1.
Yeah, that's a really nice cigar.
He sent that, and I opened the package. I'm like, bro, I can't tell you the last time I had this cigar. I'm like,
now there's 4 of them. Now there's 3 there's 3 new blends. Yeah,
I have to get the newer ones. But when he sent me the first one, I'm like, man. I started smoking it on that episode, and I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, this is so good. I'm like, this is so good. It's as good as I remember it. So to me, it was even better because I'm smoking it, and it's bringing back, like you said, all the memories of when I was smoking it, what I was doing and stuff like that. And I'm like, this just made it even better.
That's awesome, bro. That's really great to hear.
So, but we'll definitely do this again for sure.
I'm excited.
This one episode we'll start, looking out the next year and maybe setting up a date to iron out with you, and maybe have Jack on as well and have some fun.
We'll do. You can count on us.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Hector. I appreciate it.
No problem, brother.
Have a good one.
All right, man. Take it easy, guys. Say goodbye to your pops for me.
Will do.
All right, man.
All right. Bye. Later, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Military Broadcast Radio. As we wrap up today's show, we want to remind you that the podcast of today's episode will be available right after we go off the air. So if you missed any part of the show or want to listen again, be sure to check it out. And remember, we're here to support and honor our veterans. Your stories and experiences matter, and we are committed to giving you a platform to share them. That's right. We're here to give our veterans a voice. So don't forget to catch the podcast and stay connected with us. Giving our veterans a voice.